In this particular video, I'll demonstrate how to deploy um, local Django applications to production server, like Ubuntu production server. But this process will be identical to other servers as well as the VPS. So this is not a professional video tutorial, but it will help the beginners to catch up the process to deploy your Django applications to production server. So in this particular video, I'll need Django App. I'll then deploy Postgres database to the server. I'll serve my static files through Nginx web server, and um, I will use gunicorn for serving the Django files through Nginx web server. So first of all, I'll create a Django app in my machine, in my local machine, not in the server, and then I will check the application is working in my local machine, and I will then deploy it to the server next. So I'll pull down this Django starter template from my GitHub repository, and I will I'll pull down the repository here. So I'm opening the Linux terminal, and I clone the project here. Okay, the project is cloned successfully. I'll just rename this to DJ test, as it is a Django test project, and I'll create a virtual environment where I can install the dependencies that is declared explicitly in requirement.txt. So to create the virtual environment, I need to type python 3 -m venv and the name of our virtual environment. So in our case, the name of our virtual environment was to venv dj test. Hit enter, and our virtual environment is created as venv dj test. So let's activate our virtual environment. Name of the virtual environment, bin activate. So I am now inside my virtual environment. Now I'll have to install the dependencies to my virtual environment from the requirement.txt file inside my DJ test project. So I'm going to my DJ test project repository or folder, and if I list out the files and folders, I can see that the requirement.txt is here, and I need to install the requirements through pip. So pip install r requirement.txt. So I am telling pip to install requirements through this requirement.txt files, and in this requirements.txt files all our dependencies has been listed. So hit enter and it will install the dependencies to our applications. So if I run the server through manage.py, I should see the Django app up and running. Let's try. Python manage.py run server. So yes, the server is up and running, but the red line says I have some unapplied migrations, but I will not concern about this one. But I am just verify my local Django app is working or not. So I type localhost port 8000 because this is the default port for Django applications, and I will use port 8000 and hit enter, and here it is. My starting Django applications is up and running. So in the next section we'll deploy these particular applications to a production server. Remember, this is displayed through our local machine, the machine I am using, but in the next section we will learn how to deploy this Django application to the production server. We'll gonna be log into the server and deploy our Django app. So what I am using here as a server is virtual server in Oracle virtual machine. So I'll start my server headlessly. So this is Ubuntu server, Ubuntu 22.04. My machine has been started, and I'll give some time to up and running the server, and I'll log into the server using my terminal. And the server is, if I show you the IP address of the server, so I'm showing the IP address of the server, IPA, and you can see that my IP address of this particular server in my particular network is 192.168.3.1.198, but yours one might be different. So I'll remember the IP address and log into my server. So I'm exiting from this terminal, and I'm using my Linux, my Ubuntu terminal here. So I would log in via SSH. Username is SMAD. The IP address of my virtual machine is 192.168.3.1.198. Hit enter, and I am logged in. Because the SSH client was verified with my local machine, and so I don't require to enter my username and password, and I logged in without the login credentials. So after logging in, I'm listing the uh, files and the folders in my virtual machine, particularly virtual server. So here is a directory called Django projects. So I will deploy my app to that directory. So first cd into that directory, Django projects, and if I list out the content, here are two contents already, but I am removing the content, the file folder test, and if I again list out the, we can see that the test folder or test directory is deleted. So I'll create a directory here named djtest. You can already know how to create directory using your terminal, so I'm not going to be discussing that in details. So my folder name should be djtest, but you can specify the name anything you want to. So I'll okay, djtest, and now I go to the newly created directory, and the directory is currently empty. So I have make mainly two things here. I need to create a virtual environment and pulling down my project from the GitHub repo. So first of all, I am pulling my project down to my folder. I'm copying and I'll paste so I'll clone this project here. So if I going to list my directory, I can see that my Django starter has pulled down already. So I'm just rename my folder to djtest, and if I list out, I can see that my Django starter has become djtest, and so my project is now pulled down. I just create a virtual environment here. To create virtual environment, we have to put python 3-m venv and the name of our virtual environment. The name of our virtual environment is djtest, and hit enter. So after some time the virtual environment will be created, and if I list out, I can see that the virtual environment has already been created. So now if I want to install the dependencies from the requirement dot txt in our digitext file, and requirement txt in our digitext file, I have to activate my virtual environment. So to activate, I'll need to put source, the name of our virtual environment, digitest, bin, activate, and hit enter. So here you can see that we have already in our virtual environment. And so let's go to our project file, that is digitest, cd digitest, and if I list out, I can see that all my project files that I pulled down from GitHub is here. So I need to first install the dependencies here from requirements.txt. If I um, if I see what inside the requirement.txt, I can write cat requirement.txt, and we can see that in requirements.txt we have 3 dependencies, Django and 2 other dependencies also. And to install the dependencies, we need to specify pip install r and the name of the requirements file. So in our case, requirements.txt, hit enter, and this will download all the dependencies to our virtual environment of our server. So all the dependencies is successfully installed, and here is, and the setup of our initial app is now ready. If I run the app here, python with python manage dot py and run server, you can see that our app is now up and running from our Ubuntu server. But in our Ubuntu server there is no web interface, so we can not verify with website, but we can verify with curl command. So I am again login to our server with another terminal SSH. If you remember our IP address, it was 192.168.3.1 and 198. So I have logged in the same server, this server, and this server is the same server. I just logged in from another terminal, and if I curl the IP address, so I am copying the link, I'm pasting the link here, and if I hit enter, I can see that all the content is now displayed on visible. But if I stop the server, this is remember, this is the development server. So if I run the curl command again, I can see that failed to connect port, localhost port 8000. And if I just run again and I'm just clearing this a little bit, and if I curl again, I can see that I am presented with the Django default Django page. So this is how we can deploy our server, deploy our web app to the Django server. But this is not enough, right? And the next part to this entire process will be shown how we can um, install Nginx and gunicorn to serve this particular website through a port that in our other machines we can access the website through our browser. So now I'll connect my app with PostgreSQL database, and the app now is connected to the SQLite database. If I run the app again with the unicorn, you can see that this app is connected to the the SQLite database, because if I go to the settings.py, you can see that in our setting the database was selected as the SQLite database. Here it is. So we have to modify this and to connect our existing app to the PostgreSQL database, because SQLite is not very suitable of heavy using, and Postgres can very suitable option for us. So I just go to the PostgreSQL terminal, PostgreSQL interface, by typing this command, sorry, not this one, by typing this command sudo u postgres psql, and after typing our password, I can now list the existing database users, and here are some existing users, and I am going to create a new user. To create new user, I have to type, so I need to create a new database as well. So the name of my database should be a test, and if I list again, we can see that our database is not created. But if we go and specify a semicolon, we can now see that create database, it is a test, the database has been created. And if I list out again, we can see that there are few databases with our database named test. So now we have to create a database user for this database. So this is the database user. Our database user should be the test, test, should be test, and password should be 1 2 3 4 5 6, and you can specify any password you want, but for simplicity I am going with a simple password. So as soon as I hit enter, the user has been created, and now we have to give the user all permission on our newly created database. So the name of the database is DJ test. Okay, no, this should be the name of the user. Okay, our username should DJ test. The name of the user is DJ test. The database is also DJ test. Grant all privileges on database DJ test to DJ test. So this is the name of our database, and this is the name of our user. So if I hit enter, grant is popping up. So now if I list out, you can see that, sorry for this mess, if we list out, you can see that our database is created, and Postgres DJ test has all the permission for this database. So now I just have to go to the settings file, settings.py, and I have to specify the these things on our settings.py. Databases, I have to comment this out, commenting this out, and paste what I was copied. Name, so this should be DJ test, DJ test. This should also be DJ test. Password should be 1 through 6, and other things should be the same as is. So now we can save and exit, and we have to install psychob for running our database. So just copy and paste the command in after activating our virtual environment. So installing psychob 2 and install successful. If we run our gunicorn again, and now our server, and we can able to go to our admin as well, and if we go to our we have to create a super user to log into our admin dashboard, but I am not gonna be doing this in this video. So this is it. How can we link our uh, database, the SQL, the we have removed the SQLite database, we have unlinked with the SQLite database, and we have linked with the Postgres database. Thank you. In this section we will be connecting our Django apps with Nginx via Unicorn. So let's go through the dock and we have to install the Unicorn. So let's log into our let's power up our machine. Our machine is powering up. This is our Ubuntu server, and we are not going to be using this terminal, rather we'll be using our Ubuntu terminal. So we have logged in. Let's go to our project, that is Django project. cd Django project, it is a test, and let's activate our virtual environment. This is our virtual environment. Source vmv, it is a test, bin activate, okay, we spelled it incorrectly. It is a test, the test env, sorry, here is extra d, it is a text. Okay, now our environment has activated, and now we will have to install the Unicorn. So I have to use sudo pip install the Unicorn. Let's try not install not with sudo. Okay, the Unicorn in our environment has been installed. Remember that you do not use sudo here, because installing sudo will install the Unicorn in your global environment, not the virtual environment. So remember that, do not use sudo here. So our Unicorn package is successfully installed, and let's run the project with the Unicorn now. So in our project we have a file named whiskey. Let's see that. So cd to, it is a test, and list the files, and if we go to the digitext folder, it is a test folder, we can see that there is a file named whiskey.py, and we have to specify that whiskey.py using the Unicorn. So if I go to on my command line and paste this command. Okay, we are getting an error. So what is the error? Okay, so we have to go to it is a text cd, it is a text, and if I say unicorn, if I specify our project name is a test and whiskey, we again have encountered an error because this is test.whiskey. So okay, not this is a test but it is a test.whiskey. So after clearing this, after correcting this, our gunicorn server is up and running and listening to port 800 port 8000, and if we go to this port and this IP address of my virtual machine, if I go to here, I can see that our server is serving the app with the unicorn server. But in your case, you might not the styling might not you might not getting the styling. So to get the styling, we have done some extra work, and if I go to the static file section, I have to specify the static file root, and the root should be something that is specified in our unicorn the Nginx configuration file. So we can refresh this, and we can, if we go to the network, and we saw that this is going to static, and but not found 404 not found is presenting here. So we have to go to and fix the static file issues. So let's pause the server and we make a static file root. If you can remember that we have already created a directory with to store our static files. If we go there and show you in our Django projects, no, not in our Django project, but we stored that in another project. So I go to ll var www, you can see that there is another Django project that is for storing the static files. And right now there is two more projects, is a test that we have created, and if we go to text, sorry for this mess, my keyboard was stuck. So if we go to text, there is no files up until now. So I will create another directory and if we have make the directory in false location, first I have to go to the cd1 and there is no directory. I am going to okay, so there is a permission issue, so I need to specify the owner and the group to assign the permissions. So I'm going two step back and I'm modifying the permission for this folder and the recursive folder to my user of this machine, Django project. Okay, operation is not permitted, so I need to use sudo, then I hope you can now see. Let me clear the mess and the Django projects, and if I again go to the Django projects, it is a test, and if I try to make directory static, now our directory is being created. So there is new directory static and we have to go to that directory and cd static and print the present working directory here, and we will be copying this one to our okay, we are copying this one and we'll paste that on our static root folder. So static files we'll go to our settings.py file, okay, settings.py file. Let's go to our dz test and settings.py, sudo nano dz test settings.py. We have to specify the static file dir, static URL or static root. So where is static root? Allowed installed apps. So there is no static root. I have to create a static root. Static root, and I have to paste our project here. I believe there is no static root defined here, so static root, okay, so there is no static root up until now. So we have defined the static root. I'm going to close this one, and static root is created. Now we have to go to collect static files to our defined directory. So if we have to collect our static files, yes, to continue, our file will be copied to this is a test. Okay, we have to cancel because we need to go to this setting file again, and we need to specify the folder, the file path. I forgot to append static here. Okay, you can go to write and exit, and now we go to collect static. So sorry for this mess again. A 130 static files copied to this test static. So let's clear the mess. Then we have to define the location, which is now going to be static, and let's go to that file from here. And if I just go to this one, and I could see that there was nothing before, but the admin folder has been added. So I'm going to cd in our configuration file tc Nginx sites available slash d. Okay, sites available dj etc Nginx sites available. Let's print the files and folders. So this is a test, sites available, this is a test. Okay, I have to edit the file, not sites available, it is a test. Okay, this is a test, the T of the test should be the capital case. So now I specify the location of our static file. So location static root will be bar is a test slash static will serve these configuration files. And okay, I should not supposed to edit this file here, rather than I have to mention another block with static file. So in this location we will have to specify our static file directory. We'll remove this from here. and we'll paste this like this one and try files. It is a test var www, it is a test and static. Okay, so if we save the file and start our server, with the unicorn, and let's refresh our files, and if we go to the network tab, static admin dot, let's go to the admin. Okay, the style sheet is not here, style is not here, so there was something wrong with the style. Font.js static. So let's go to the settings file, settings.py. we have static root, we specified the static root. So we have to fix something in our configuration file here. We have to specify the root of our static files. Our static files is in var www, it is a test project, it is a test slash static, and save this, exit this, and in our test file, we have to specify the same path here as well, as static root var www, it is a test projects, is a test and static. And let's save and exit this one, and now we have to restart the Nginx server, and that is sudo systemctl restart Nginx, and Nginx server has restarted. And if we now run the unicorn again, you can see that we will be presented with the 8005, the website with proper styling. If you go to network tab, you can see that nothing is not found here, everything is found. The style sheet is found here. If we go to the admin, and there we also see that our style sheet is loaded properly. If we go to network tab and refresh this one, you see that every styling is now propagating properly through from our static files. So this is how we can deploy our Django website using Nginx unicorn, with custom configuration file of Nginx. So in the next section we'll learn another thing, that is running the Gunicorn as a service, not not like running the Gunicorn like this one. So that the Gunicorn will boot every time our system boots. So as soon as we uh, hit our server up, the Gunicorn will automatically up and running in the background, and we'll always get our site up and running on port 8005. So thanks for watching. So in this part we will learn how to deploy Django app with Nginx and Gunicorn. So our app is up and running with a development server, but we'll deploy it with a production server using Nginx and Gunicorn. Nginx will serve the static contents, and the Gunicorn will serve the actual Django contents. And the Gunicorn will act as a bridge between Nginx and the actual Django app, and this is sometimes called an app server. So I'll follow a document. The link will be included in description. So first of all, I again have to log into my server. To log in, I'll need to type SSH username @ of my IP address, and I am going to log in. So first of all, I have to install the Nginx web server using this command, but as I have already, so I need to be sudo. So as I have already downloaded the Nginx server, so this will not be installed again, and yeah, 0 upgraded, 0 newly installed, because I already have that package. So now if I go to the default Nginx server by typing curl my IP address, local IP address 127.1.0.0.1, this is the local host, and just type this, and I will get that welcome to Nginx page. This means that Nginx is successfully broadcasting our web server, broadcasting our services through its service. So to deploy our app, we have to specify a couple of things. We have to declare the configuration for our app, the directory of our app, and so on. So first of all, I have to find out the Nginx directory. So to do that, I'll need to type ll/etc/nginx. So this is the Nginx directory, and as I can see that we have to put some files in sites available, and then I have to link the site available files with the sites enabled. So for static file I need to create a directory that we will use to store our static files. So let's do that first. So if I go to print the var www, I can see that in var www there are a couple of projects, and one of them is Django projects. If you don't have this file here, you will have to create a similar file with mkdir command and the name of your folder or directory. So mine was already here. So if I go to list out the contents of the file, I can see that there is already one file here, one directory here, but we'll create another directory for our static files. So first I will go to that directory and I will create another directory for our static files. Named DJ test. Okay, we have to be sudo to do this. So if I type ll, we can see that alongside send me our DJ test is created. And now I am going to go to the Nginx sites available directory. So I have to type to etc. If I can copy this one, and sites available. So sites available, if we go to this directory and list out the contents, we can see that there are already two directories. One is default and another one is send me, but my bad, this is not directory but files, and yours might be only the default one. You will not see the send me one. And now I am going to create our configuration files here with a name. The name should be the test me in our case. So sudo nano test me dj test, sudo nano dj test in our case. So yours might be different. You will create with any name specifying here. So if I hit enter, I'll be prompted with a nano editor, and I will specify some configurations here, and the configurations file is file is copied. We can grab the configurations file from the document, and I'm copying and pasting this from the tutorial files to my configuration file, and I'll just style this a little bit. Location So this one is for the server, this one is for the location. Okay, let's go through this configuration file. So any request we are receiving will go through this particular server running in port 8000 in localhost, and will not listening to the default port, but will listen to port number 8005. You can define any port, but I am defining as port 8005, and the locations of our file in our case is if I specify this location and just save the file, what will happen, we will see just that. So this server will receive the request from a low post port 8005 and send to 127.0.0.1, that is localhost port 8000. So if I go to my IP address from our local machine 198 port 8005, so I'm going to I'm presented with some error because we did not link our configuration to site enabled. So I have to link the configuration files to configuration file, that is djtest, to the site enabled. So to link I have to specify ln/s for symbolic link, the file sites available, and the file name djtest. I link this file with the sites enabled, and hit enter. Permission denied, so I have to be sudo in this case, and the file is linked successfully. And if I refresh this, I'm still not seeing anything, so I have to restart the Nginx server. To do that, I have to do sudo systemctl start nginx. So I am getting some error because control process execute error code. So I have to check is everything error in my configuration. So no such files. Now I have to first link our project with sudo ln for link S for symbolic link, and etc Nginx, sorry for the mess, I'm just clearing the things. So sudo slash ln for link, S for symbolic link, slash etc slash nginx sites available, sites available slash dj test, that is the name of our configuration file, and the location to space and etc nginx etc slash nginx sites in a bold, hit enter, and if we go to the sites enabled, we can see that the dj test is created, linked with the sites available slash dj test. So the file is linked, and if we go to restart our Nginx with systemctl restart nginx, okay, we are presenting with some errors. So I'm trying to find out slash t Nginx duplicate upstream Django. Okay, so let's figure it out. Sudo nano sites available dj test, that is the name of our configuration file, and here should be the error sent to Django. So we are going to specify a root for our project. The root should be slash var slash www slash dj test, and so so let's try to understand the error. Error says that duplicate upstream Django. Okay, so another of my configuration file is using upstream Django, so we can modify this name to another one. So let's name it to Django Server server, and here also Django Server server. So what it does, any request in port 8005, it will send the request to Django server, this Django server, and this Django server will listen to localhost 8000. So this is it, and in this location, the specified location said that look for the root folder, var www djtest, and find the file to display. So I think this will figure out, this will get rid of the main error we're getting at. So now write and exit the terminal, run nginx -t, and test is now successful. So I'm going to have a restart nginx, sudo systemctl restart nginx, and restart is successful. If I go to my browser now and enter the IP address of my virtual machine 198 and the port 8005, and now I should see, I should see the port number with bad gateway. Problem here, why we are seeing bad gateway? Let's go to the document. So here the reason is specified. So if I go and run the development server in our virtual machines development server, the error should be go away. So let's create another terminal and first log into our server and go to our Django project, cd Django projects, and djtest, I think djtest, activate the virtual environment and run server. So source env djtest /bin/active bet, hit enter, and our virtual environment in our Ubuntu server is activated. And let's start the development server. So what is the cause? Okay, we have to go to the djtext directory and then run this command, and our development server is up and running. If I again go to this file and so this is not in our allowed host, so we have to specify the allowed host in our Django App. So let's go to the settings of DJ test, sudo nano DJ test settings.py, and let's change the allowed host. And so where is the, yes, this is the allowed host. So just make this one as an allowed host, Control O and Control X, and if we run the server again, refresh this again, and we are successfully deployed the Django server. We are displaying this page from our server in virtual machine. If we stop this server, stop this virtual machine, then our app will stop. Let's see that. So exit. Okay, let's powering off the machine. Okay, now our virtual machine is powered off state. So if I refresh, we can see that there is nothing in this IP address and this port. So this is how we can serve our application through Nginx Server. And next we can bind this application to the Nginx and gunicorn.